Greetings, fellow investigators, and welcome to our video podcast, Into the Darkness, where my friends and I play the Call of Cthulhu role-playing game. I'm your host, Tom Rayleigh. Tonight, we are running a familiar game that we've played from Reckoning of the Dead. The scenario is Organism 46b. I'll be the GM, and this is version 3. So, without any further delay, let's begin our journey into the darkness. All right. The 4 of you have been conscripted by the American government to fly in and assist at a drilling rig in Antarctica. It's about 400 miles from the coast. You first fly to Melbourne, then you fly to what's the name of it? Casey Station on the edge of Antarctica, and then 400 miles into Camp Lake Carter is what it's been called. The new lake that they have found is called Lake Carter. It's 14,800 feet below the surface, twice as deep as any lake that they have found previously. You are in international territory, so nobody owns this, and you are vaguely aware that the Russians are probably trying to do the same thing. The lake was sighted by both satellite and sonar soundings in the ground. And so you guys are going to be at the place to explore it. As your helicopters fly in towards the camp after miles and miles of nothing but white snow and rocks, what would you guys be talking about as you are flying along there? Go ahead.
Who is it we're meeting again? What's her name?
Yeah.
Rachel, right? Davidson?
Rachel.
Oh man, this has been just a brutal flight.
Yeah, this. I don't like being in helicopters. It's hard on my butt. Sorry. I'm getting so squirmy here.
It's pretty cold in the helicopter.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, too. Yeah.
That's too chilly.
Shackleton, have you worked with this Dr. Marcus Baker before? Glaciologist. You know
No, I've never had the fortune of working with Dr. Baker. I've seen some papers, but don't know much about him.
Yeah, I hadn't heard anything.
I sort of, will you guys kind of feel a bit rounded up when you got hired to do this? I sort of didn't feel very voluntary about it.
Voluntold, yeah.
Yeah, and I'm not even an American national, and I was kind of like, what is going on?
I think they're trying to beat the Russians on this, right? Rounding up people as quickly as they can.
The Cold War is over. What's the fear? I don't.
Yeah, maybe there's UFO or Nazis down there.
God, no. That's never going to happen. Well, anyways.
So as you fly out, you start flying over the camp. You circle it a couple times. This is more or less the layout. You can see there's the helipad. That's where you're going to land. There is a large tent, mess hall, kitchen, recreation area, sleeping quarters. There is a separate building for laboratories. There's a machine shop and a latrine. And you can see the rig at the other end of the camp. You can also see that there seems to be some sort of little a fence. It's really a string of like large pitons in the ice with cables strung on them so that you can find your way back and forth. If there is blizzard conditions or if there's something like that, it could be death to try to wander around outside. You want to be able to get from one building to another without getting lost. The helicopter lands, and there are a couple of people who come out to meet you. One of them is a lady, one of them is a man. The lady comes out. She's, of course, dressed all in a parka. She comes out. She says, "Hi, I'm Rachel Davidson. Welcome."
Thank you.
I'd finally be on the ground. Yeah.
Yep. Oh, I need to stretch. Can I get out of this thing?
Sure, we'll get you inside and get you warmed up.
Yeah, I want to take a look at the labs too, as soon as I can.
Well, let's get your gear inside. So they start unloading your gear. She tells you it's a nice day.
Is it?
I'll take your word for it.
She says,
It's a little bit chilly.
she says,
I've seen worse in Chicago.
She says currently, excuse me. Currently it's about 10 below.
Not too bad.
Which is not too bad. At night it can go down to 60 below.
That's not too good. Okay.
Fortunately, the sun doesn't go down here right now. We are in the middle of summer, or summer. It's winter in the north, but it's summer down here. She takes you across the across to the big tent. These are an unusual kind of tent. They're made from a specific kind of mylar fabric. It's a lot stiffer than what you'd think of as fabric. It's designed to be very, very tough.
You couldn't cut through it with a knife easily?
It would be very difficult to cut through it with a knife, right?
Okay.
They're also not much. There's a framework inside that keeps it so that there's not any chance of it collapsing. And they're secured heavily in case of wind, because for the most part, a lot of Antarctica is pretty flat. The wind never stops blowing. It's not a very pleasant environment. It almost never snows. It is also one of the driest places on the planet.
It's hard to believe, but we're in a desert.
Right, you are in a desert. So she takes you inside, and you're going in through the mess hall. Once you get inside, it's fairly warm. It's, probably in the 70s, which we don't always think of that as warm, but it's warm compared to outside. There's a full kitchen, mess hall. There's a rec room. They have a couple of pinball machines, and they have some video games.
Nice.
And then she takes you back to the sleeping quarters. Now, the sleeping quarters, they have completely blocked all of the light from the outside into the sleeping quarters, because the sun never goes down. So when you want to sleep, you'd really like to be in the dark. They've done a good job of sort of doing that back there. Well, take your gear. Yeah, we'll show you wherever your rooms are. And then, come on back here into the mess hall, and we'll introduce you to some of the other people. So you take your gear. You all got to kind of stow your own gear.
Yep.
Are we paired up with anyone, or is it singles rooms?
Yeah, they're probably multi people in a room.
Like bunk beds, or?
Probably not bunk beds, but definitely sort of crowded in there.
All right.
You notice as you're going in, there are schedules posted on the walls, and you become it becomes very keenly aware that there are 3 shifts.
Right.
So they go 24 hours a day with 3 different shifts, each lasting, that'd be 8 hours.
Yeah.
You put your stuff away. You also have equipment, some personal scientific equipment that you've brought with you. That can all go in the lab, which they'll take you over to in a few minutes. But they've also got quite a bit of equipment over there as well. You come back out into the rec room, and she's assembled a few people. She introduces you. This is Dr. Marcus Baker. He is the glaciologist. He can tell you all about, the landscape out here and what you're going to have to deal with. There's John Mercy. He is one of the derrick hands, probably the most experienced. You've got another engineer, maintenance engineer, Lauren. You've got Tank. He's the cook. You've got Harry. He is our communications expert. And then you've got Mike and Jason, who are other derrick hands. And not all of these people are here because some of them are out of the rig. And then you've got the roughnecks. The roughnecks are the workers, the hard workers. And it's a mix of men and women. Well, there's one woman in there. There's two women. Okay. So they've been setting up the rig. We haven't begun to drill yet. We're going to start drilling later today. If you know your drills, and she tells you what kind of drill it is and all of that, the drill should be drilling at 105 feet per hour or 32 meters per hour. And it should get about 20 feet per day, or 768 meters per day. The hole that it digs, the borehole is actually about 3.5 feet wide.
Oh.
And it uses superheated water. They drill. There's a carbide drill. It drills in, and then it uses superheated water to melt the shaft. The drill hands sit on the top of the rig, and they attach the next pole when the rig, when they've extended the pole down into the ground. We got plenty of stuff for getting down there. We're going to be drilling down at least 4.5 kilometers into the ice.
So do we have an ETA when we're going to break through to the lake?
Probably the end of the 5th day.
Okay.
We should be down there, assuming that we don't encounter any difficulty in the process. But there shouldn't be any, it should be ice all the way down. We're probably looking at something, the lake, it is estimated, is pretty large, maybe 5 miles long, and contains a tremendous amount of fresh water. We're estimating that it's probably about 60 to 70 million years old.
Wow.
Yeah, it was, although there was still ice back then, it would have been fairly early on in the ice period of.
They think they still have marsupials running around at that point.
Yeah, possibly. So it'll be interesting to see what we get. So now I can take you over to your labs. We'll go on over there. So once again, you leave the there's a lot of heavy coats hung up by the door. So even if you can't find yours, you can find a heavy coat to get to the next place.
Take a coat, leave a coat. Okay.
You walk across to the, actually you're taking a little bit of a detour. The latrines are outside. They're not outside. It's a separate tent because nobody wants to stink up the tent where you all sleep. And then the laboratories are next to that as well. The laboratories are fully equipped. There's a medical bay in case of an emergency. There are storage units for storing ice cores if you are so inclined to dig ice cores. There pretty much anything that you would need for analysis of materials is there. They'll have a spectrometer, They'll have an electron microscope. They'll have all that sort of equipment. It's all where we've got like an interlink, a satellite interlink. So there is computer service.
Oh, all right.
Good.
Is this state-of-the-art equipment?
Pretty much state-of-the-art equipment.
All right.
And then she takes you over to the rig. The rig has it has been fully assembled, but they haven't started it up yet. They need to get an inspection and approval by the engineer, which is George Glass. And so the rig is an interesting thing. I mean, think kind of like an oil well, but not as big as not as tall as an oil well. The entire structure is completely covered in a very similar material to the tents. And inside, it's actually quite warm, almost uncomfortably warm, because there are these gigantic boilers that are attached to it for the superheated water. So most of the roughnecks, except maybe for the women, tend to work shirtless because it's uncomfortably hot. The basic premise is they bore the hole down to the length of the drill, and then they attach a pipe to the end of that, and then they push it down farther. They blast it with the superheated water, and they just keep going and going and going like that as it goes along. The pumps reuse a lot of the water. They recirculate. And so if Mr. Glass would like to do an inspection and take a look at everything, then we can start that. Everybody else can go back to the lab.
Well, I'm going to ask for a section of the ice to be sent to the lab for me to look at.
All right, they'll send. They've got some cores already, little cores.
Oh,
you can sort of hand draw the long ice cores. All right, so they'll do that. Miss Bassard, what would you like to do?
I'll be heading back to the labs too, making sure all the equipment that I would want is ready and set up. And I might look at some of the samples that Jerry Beach has requested as well, if he doesn't mind sharing his samples.
No problem.
Okay. All right.
I want to see if this looks like current ice.
All right. So the samples are kind of what you expect. You can date a lot from things like pollen that's in the air, that's trapped in the ice. And these cores are fairly small samples, but you can see they're going back 10,000, 20,000 years. They'll take a lot of analysis, but they aren't the thing that's the most important here. This area has actually been surveyed quite a bit over the course of the last 50 years or so. You do find a map of the area and the proposed size of the lake and its layout. It looks like this is a satellite picture. So Camp Lake Carter sits right at the very tip of it, and it seems to extend out in that shape. That's at least what the what do you call them? The satellite images are showing.
Almost a river.
Yeah, it's about 5 miles long.
Mm-hmm. I see that we have a lab technician, Dr. Kathy Remo. Do we know her specialty?
Dr. Kathy is there. She basically maintains the equipment and can assist you with anything that you need to do. She does have a doctorate, but she does look kind of young. So, she's still sort of assisting rather than running the operations.
Yeah.
The rig, everything seems to be, high quality. Well, this isn't like they're not reusing some old rig. They're redoing it. The John Mercy, he's kind of the lead Derek person. So he explains to you how the whole thing works. You're kind of familiar with how it works. He shows you the operations room, the boilers and everything, and explains that, you know, some of the dangers. They have to be careful that they don't, they don't overpressurize, or he goes over all of the safety procedures, but they all know what they're doing. They've done this sort of thing before in other places. And so finally, after, 15, 20 minutes of checking everything, you give them the go ahead. They fire everything up. The drill makes a lot of noise, and that's kind of why they've put it at the far end of the camp. As you are returning to the labs where everyone else is, you also notice that over at the machine shop, you do have a snowcat, little tractor. Although whoever is with you points out that there's no place to go. I mean, it's literally a last resort way out because you're 400 miles from the coast. That probably won't get you 400 miles.
What kind of communication do we have between buildings? Is there radio setups?
Sure. Yeah, there's phones. I'm not sure they would have an intercom.
Is the place being heated by the boiler setup? I mean, is there like heat tunnels?
It's got its own heating system. It's also got its own generators for electricity and stuff like that. Okay. Probably diesel fuel. The floors inside your tents are wooden, so they've built like a wooden structure with the tents on them. But directly underneath that is, I mean, there's a layer of insulation, but then directly under that's just ice.
Yeah.
And there are secure bores that go deep down, so that, like I said, you're not going to blow away in the wind or anything like that. All right. So if you are hungry, there's food. They have regular hours for meals. They work in 3 shifts. And the only one that sort of is a little bit of an exception to that is Rachel. What Rachel tends to do is she tends to do this weird thing where she sleeps for 4 hours and then she's on for 4 hours. And she just keeps doing that because she wants to be there for some of each shift. It's rough on her, but she's in charge of everything, and she takes her job really seriously. So, i.e., half the time, you're likely not to see her.
So is there anyone, you said there's a rec room, right?
Mm-hmm.
Are there some folks kind of milling around?
Yeah, there's always somebody on their off time.
Sure. Okay. Since I don't have anything right now, being, marine biologist, we haven't hit the lake yet, I'm probably going to spend some time in the rec room, just talking to people, getting to know them and making conversation.
Okay. There's 2 gentlemen and a lady. And they're dressed down. You're pretty sure they're roughnecks. They're eating and drinking and laughing and reading magazines and things like that. So you're one of the new ones.
Yeah, Sophie Broussard. How are you?
Hi, Stuart, Joan, and Paul.
Are you liking it out here?
It's a job.
Yeah, sure.
I mean, I've been in worse places. I think it's much worse if you're in a hot place like a jungle than if you're in a cold place. You can always get warm. It's really hard to get cold when you're.
I hear that. So, you all
Are
just come down here recently?
Oh, well, we came down with the job. We've been here about a week.
Okay.
You're a scientist. What sort of scientist?
Marine biologist.
You're a marine biologist.
Mhm,
Oh, that's
mhm.
cool. Wonder if you'll find anything down there. Maybe there's dragons.
That'd be the discovery of the century, I tell you. I had heard rumors that there was like a Russian camp nearby. Is that true, or is that just people talking?
I don't know. We hear those rumors too. Supposedly the Russians, they found the first deep lake of Volstock and contaminated the hell out of it with their oil rigs, their oil drills. But there's a lot of people that say that they might have found something else down there.
Oh, like marine life or something? I don't know, like my work.
Yeah, I heard that there might be some sort of like a monster that lives down there.
A monster. Think we'd heard about it though, huh?
Well, no, they're keeping it a secret, because they can find some way to weaponize it, and who knows,
And Jerry, come over here. They're kind of talking like you talk. Sounds like your area of interest.
Yeah.
So what's happening?
Well, I mean, they sometimes find, what are they called? Cryptids?
Yeah. Mhm. Unknown creatures. Yeah. They find them in the ocean now. Once they thought were dead since the dinosaurs. They're showing up in Hawaii.
Well, I heard that there was a big, gigantic 12-armed octopus thing that lived down in that Lake Volstock. And
wow. I mean, megafauna, we know megafauna existed, of course, but that sounds a bit extreme. Rumors.
Well,
I can't imagine being very big down there.
But I mean, they're all by themselves. They could find, I mean, I don't know what they would eat, but
yeah, that's what I don't know either.
I suppose pretty much you're going to find little microscopic things, though.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, of course.
Anyway, yeah, I don't know. I mean, I've heard rumors. We've, Pete thought he saw a helicopter off in the distance at one point. So, they might have a camp somewhere nearby. Who knows? It's international territory, so not much you can do about it. But it'll suck if they, did we lose somebody?
Oh no. Oh, he's back.
You hit the video button.
Sorry.
Hold on. Give me a second. I can rearrange you back. Is that how you were? Yeah, okay. Note. Yeah, so as long as they don't contaminate it, because that was their stupid thing last time. That was a couple of years ago.
There's no concerns about them drilling at we're drilling, they're drilling. I don't know. George, what do you think? Is that a problem?
I don't think it would be. I think that they would be far enough away from us. Not sure.
Yeah, I mean, it's a big lake.
Not my expertise.
So there's a communications officer, I think you mentioned on the list here.
Oh yeah, that's
Harry.
Harry, yeah.
Yeah, he's in the communications room. The radio guy.
Okay. I'm just gonna poke my head in and to say hi to him. Because he probably wants the shortwave or whatever.
Yeah, he's got a shortwave. He's very much like the radar character.
Harry, do you ever sort of twiddle around the dial a bit to see who else might be doing the radio around here besides us?
Occasionally, yeah. You're thinking about the Russians, right?
Do you hear any Russian talking?
The thing is out here on the Antarctic, you hear a lot of chatter from a lot of different groups.
Right.
Definitely you hear Russian. You hear a lot of Norwegian, oddly enough. And German. It's difficult to tell exactly where they're coming from. We're not that.
So you haven't heard anything that sounded a bit urgent or odd or anything. Maybe I know you can't speak Russian, maybe, but you know the way people talk.
Yeah, I don't speak Russian. You speak Russian?
I do actually speak a bit.
Oh,
so if you hear something, transcribe it and let me know, because maybe we might get a heads up.
sure.
Yeah.
Oh, you think there's? Russian
I don't. I let's just say I got brought into this in a way that made me slightly uncomfortable, and I'm a little worried about what might be happening between the two groups here.
Righto. I'll keep you.
Yeah,
posted.
or I could just be paranoid and crazy.
All right. So the day wears on. Let's say you arrived around 10 o'clock in the morning, and somewhere maybe around, we'll say 4 in the afternoon. You guys are settling in. You're making yourselves comfortable. Maybe you want to take, I don't know what your time, you're going to all be on the same shift, obviously. There's something starts to bother you just a little bit. You're not quite sure what it is. It's not about the people. But you realize after a while that it has to do with the way everything around you kind of looks, not inside, but outside. And you realize that the sun, instead of going up and over, it's really doing this. It's going around because you're on the bottom of the planet, and the sun never goes down because it just goes around like this. And so the shadows keep changing, but then they come back. I mean, it takes longer. It'll take 24 hours. But you can see how after a while, since the light never seems to much change in amount, how it should be getting later in the afternoon, but it still feels like the morning. And you will appreciate the fact that your tents are darkened.
Yeah.
So you're hanging around for a while, and maybe you are resting, reading, whatever. Let's just ask. Let's just say, what are you doing? I mean, you've looked at your equipment. All your equipment's in order. You don't really have anything to analyze right now that hasn't been already analyzed. So, Sophie, what are you doing to relax?
Reading a book in the rec room. Hoping, just to make some friends, and I don't want to be
Sure.
Don't want to isolate myself. Yeah.
Perhaps you're reading At the Mountains of Madness, Lovecraft, which I hear is kind of a requisition that you have to read that if you're in the Antarctic exploring. How about you, George?
Mostly just in the rec room. Maybe playing a couple of games with the Roughnecks if they're free.
Yeah, they got cards, they got checkers, chess.
Playing cards.
Jerry, how about you?
I like to play cards, so if there's a card game going on, I'm with that. Otherwise, I go sit in the corner and read, or go over and check the machines over another time, make sure everything's working just right.
The rednecks are friendly. I mean, they're kind of a bunch that hangs together, and they kind of welcome you in. And playing cards is a good way to break the ice. Literally break the ice. Andrew, what are you up to?
Well, I'm sort of actually trying to see if I can get anyone to. They got some old video. Well, not old. They got some video game consoles there, right? Maybe a Nintendo or something. I'll see if I can get someone to get into 2-player fighting games with me.
Yeah, they don't have a lot of brand new games, but they do have, stuff that came out last year.
Oh, that's good enough. I'm not really good at cards because my tells are too obvious, so I'll avoid those.
I would like Sophie and Andrew and Jerry all to do listen rolls.
I missed it.
45.
Is that a pass?
Yep.
And you, Holly?
Nope, nothing here.
Okay. So, Andrew, as you're sitting there playing your games or whatever, you start to notice what almost seems, like tinnitus, that sort of high-pitched, screechy noise in your ear.
Mhm.
George, you don't need to roll for this. You're sitting there playing cards, and this semi-familiar noise starts going in your ear, and it's this high-pitched screeching noise. And you know this sound because you are familiar with the rig. That sounds like the rig drill is hitting something like rock.
Okay.
And
Then,
yeah, go ahead.
so I'm going to put the cards down. I'm going to say to the other workers, guys, I can hear something, and I'm pretty certain it's a drill. I think we need to see what's going on.
A lot of them can hear it too. They leap up. They're like, holy crap, something's wrong. So the other three of you see him jump up and say that and run for the door, run for the coat.
Yeah, I'm actually curious too. I'm gonna even get a core sample wherever they hit.
All right. So unless you otherwise said so, you're running outside to see what's going on. It so happens that at this very moment, Rachel is on her sleep cycle, so she's not there. However, John Mercy is, and you can hear him in the rig yelling, stop the drill, like this, which you'd think you could just hit a button and do that, but it's a little bit more complicated than that. You can also feel the ground. There is definitely a building sort of vibration in the ground. And you hear, hard to describe the sound, like a cracking, like the ground cracking. And there is, you see a lot of the workers running away from the rig at this point. Some of them trying to climb down. You can hear the drill sort of winding down, but as it's doing this, there is a small explosion, not a fire explosion, but rather superheated water explosion.
Oh.
And it doesn't destroy the rig or anything, but a big chunk of something goes flying apparently out of the borehole as it's damaged part of the drill, and it rips through the covering on the drill, and it lands about 100 yards over. It looks like a big piece of rock or something.
I know where I'm going.
And by now the drill is down and the men are making noise, and somebody's run to wake up Rachel. George, you can see that it's not the kind of damage that they won't be able to repair in a few hours, but they're going to have to repair that cloth covering because otherwise everything will freeze. So you probably go over to help them. What are the rest of you doing?
I'm going to check out what landed. I'm curious.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, I'll go with.
Okay. So you go over there. Maybe a couple of the others have come over with you. And what has ejected itself from the borehole, is some sort of mineral. It's a piece of rock. It's shaped kind of, what would you call it? Like a shard. except that it's about 3 feet long and maybe a foot thick in the middle. And so it's pointed on both ends. It's long shard like that. And it's made of this dark blue, metallic sort of metal. If you've ever seen bismuth, it's got kind of a rainbowy sheen to it in the light. It kind of looks like that. It's obviously broken. You know, it's been shattered on either end. But you have no idea what it's made out of. Crystal of some sort. It's semi-translucent, but it's, I mean, you can see, you know, there's a translucence to it, but it's solid. It's not clear.
Can I, so it's obviously too big to move this without getting a sled or something over here.
It would take a couple of people to pick it up. It's probably a couple of 100 pounds.
Okay. Does it have any little bits I could chip off for laser spectrography or something like that?
You could try, get a hammer.
Sure. Do you want a couple of samples, Jerry?
Oh, yeah. See what this made of.
You can see that it's extremely hot right now.
Oh, well.
Probably because, you know, when you, like a drill like that, when a drill hits something, it's actually the friction causes it to heat up. So it's heated up because of the friction, but it's rapidly cooling. You take your hammer, and you know, you find a sharp edge on it, and you hit it with your hammer, and nothing happens. You hit it again, you hit it even harder. Nothing.
How does it sound with the hit? Does it have
it rings like a bell.
So it sounds like a metal almost.
Yeah, it definitely sounds like a metal. It's definitely, when you look at it, it's got qualities, though it's a little too hot at the moment for you to pick up. It's rapidly cooling because it's, of course, sitting on the ice, and melting the ice a little bit around it. But yeah, it's weird.
Well, maybe we can get some of the Roughnecks to help us get it into the lab.
Yeah.
I'd like to know what level they found that at, because I want to know how far down they got.
Okay, you find out from, well, George can ask them that question.
Yeah, so I'm going to ask them if we can get it to the lab for them.
Well, it'll take them a couple of hours to get it, but we were just about at 1,000 feet.
Okay.
So, this is a good core sample, as it were. Yeah.
So you get a couple of the Roughnecks. Everybody's kind of curious about what it is. It's weird looking, but they help you to bring it into the lab. Maybe there's a big table in the middle. You put it on the table.
Well, with working with Jerry, because he's obviously the big expert here, we can, once it cools down enough to work, I'm going to start doing things like testing it's how magnetic it is and how conductive to electricity, and trying to, like, if I'm going by the idea that it's some kind of metal, just running some tests.
We'll go bit by bit. Let's say that you take it. You've probably got those big metal trays. Probably set that down. You've put that in there. Your first test, you probably, since it doesn't seem to be effective when you try to hit it, but obviously it can be broken. It's broken off of something. You do a Mohs test, if you know what that is, hardness test, and it is at least as hard as diamond. So Mohs 10. Which kind of baffles you as to what it could possibly be.
Yeah, I mean, it can't be a sedimentary layer like this sitting there. That doesn't make sense.
You try various chemicals, acid tests, and so forth on it, and it has no reaction at all. It seems to be completely impervious to that sort of stuff.
Whoa.
And
Okay.
how go ahead.
Somebody needs to get Rachel up.
She's up. She's
Oh,
up, but
okay.
she's over at the rig.
Oh, okay. I think we need to put a lid on this.
Yeah, this is
This is
anomalous.
unusual. Yeah,
Yeah.
right. We don't want to.
Jerry, do you think we just drilled into the top one of your UFOs there?
Well, it's something strange. Yeah, it could be. It could be something that can travel through space.
Does it? You said it's flat, or does it have a little bit of curvature to it?
Well, it's kind of rough as far as, it's very smooth looking, but at the same time, it's broken in crystal-like structures. It's cooled down by now. Do you touch it?
Not with my bare hands, no.
Okay,
But
and you can't really tell what the surface.
well, I'll get some. Okay, we can't take a sample off it because we can't chip it. I'll take some photographs and try to see if I can get something to study the crystal structure of it, like some close photographs.
Well, you've got microscopes and electron microscopes and things like that. Of course, you can't put a chunk in the electron microscope.
With that in mind, we're talking about it can't chip away, can't get it under a microscope.
Well,
I'm probably going to go back to the drilling site and see if there's any like fragments around where they were drilling.
Okay.
Well, okay, so it is a crystal structure. I mean, Jerry, you know more about crystal structures than I might on this. There might be a way to crack stuff off it if we can figure out like a fault line in the structure somehow. Does it work?
If we can figure out the structure of it, we might be able to, but it may take a little more work to do that.
There is Jerry, as you're looking at it, there is a weird quality to the light, the way the light sort of bounces on it. When you shift your head, back and forth, you're wondering if there's, like, in the crystal itself, there's a direction. There seem to be lines of slightly different wavelengths all going in one direction on this rock.
You see that, Andrew? When you move your head side to side, it looks like you can follow lines.
It's like a naturally occurring fiber optic cable almost. Actually, can I get a little pinpoint light and try shining it through it and see what it does?
Yeah, and it's translucent, so the light can sort of penetrate into it a little bit. I don't know if there's a way to measure, maybe an inch, you can sort of see the light penetrating in, but then it just, the substance of it gets too.
Well, okay, this can't occur naturally, right? Or can it? Troy doesn't know enough about geology to know if that could happen.
Nothing I've ever seen like it.
Should I make a geology roll or?
You have all the equipment there, so you can. Even if you've got an extreme on geology, you have no way to identify this substance. You don't know what it is. It's like nothing you've ever seen in any of your experience, but it definitely has sort of a structure to it. Are you going to touch it?
Well, I have no reason to be scared of it now that it's cold. So sure, I mean, I need to get a sense of its texture.
Okay. You touch it. It takes you a second to realize this because you're, feeling it sort of.
Yeah.
In one direction, your hand goes over it like it's a piece of ice, like it's glass. But in the other direction, it's rough. Like you can, of course, move your hand over it. It's just rough in one direction and smooth in the other direction.
Okay, I'm just going to stand there for a minute doing this back and forth.
Yeah, it seems to be aligned with these sort of, like I say, the difference. It's as if it's all pointing in one direction. Maybe there's a structure to the crystals that's much smaller than the naked eye can see. It's easier to go in one direction. It's rough in one direction and smooth in the other direction. Meanwhile, Sophie and George, you are over at the rig with Rachel. Sophie, you are looking around, and indeed you find a small piece of what looks like blue glass in the snow near the drill. That's about the only piece you find, but yours is about an inch or so. And you're very careful because that edge on it looks razor sharp.
Mm-hmm. And I'm very sure I have gloves with this temperature outside. So I've picked it up with gloves because temperature and pocketed it carefully.
Right. And now, George, you see this that she's got.
We got a sample. The guys in the lab were saying they couldn't chip away a sample of it. So hopefully this will be helpful.
Let's get that to the lab and we'll get it tested out.
You think they're going to get this up and running again the next few hours?
I want to inspect the drill, see if there's check out the damage on it.
One of the shafts was damaged, but you've got a lot of them, so they'll just toss that one aside. It was bent.
Yep.
Okay. The rock must have been hit by the drill and then propelled upward, at extreme velocity.
Okay.
Fortunately, nobody was injured by the boiling water because the water came gushing up the hole as well. And they'll be able to put everything back together and get it going. They'll be able to sew up the hole. It's just going to take them a while. And right now it's cold in there, which the biggest danger is probably the equipment freezing up. So they're using the boilers. They've turned the boilers up to make sure it's still warm in there. But if you want to come back with Sophie, Rachel, of course, is overlooking everything to make sure it's all taken care of.
I'll go off with Sophie and the sample.
So, Sophie, as you and George return to the lab and walk inside, you see Andrew and Jerry examining it. Now, Andrew, you said something earlier that I purposefully ignored up until now because, for dramatic purpose. You decide to run some tests on it, and you decide to see if you can pass an electrical current through it. And something very, very strange happens. When you pass an electrical current through it, the entire structure of it seems to break down, and it becomes almost like a soft gelatinous liquid in the pan. It actually flattens itself out. It's as if the whole thing just suddenly melted. So now you've got a bunch of blue goo in your pan. You are muted. Yeah.
I assume the current breaks when that happens. Like it's just blue glop in the pan.
Well, the current breaks because basically the thing
just dissolves.
It moves away from your thing.
You melted it. Was that just a small current?
Yeah, I just wanted to see I wanted to test its properties as a metal. So there's liquid blue glop in this pan now.
Right. But the liquid blue glop still looks exactly like the crystal substance. It's just no longer got a crystalline structure to it.
Now, when I did that, when I put the current, did I put it on the side going rough or the side going smooth?
Well, like I say, the whole substance.
Oh, the whole substance. Yeah,
smooth in one direction, but rough in the other direction. If you try again.
Yeah, sure, I will.
What happens. And the second you apply a current to it, it becomes solid and hard again. In fact, now you've just got a flat rectangular sheet of the substance that is now just as hard.
This is something out of a sci-fi novel. This is like some weird nano quantum crazy.
Yeah.
Isaac
And
Not of
Isaac
this
Arthur
world.
stuff.
Sophie and
This
George
is
come in
not of
just
this world.
Yeah,
Sophie.
Jerry, you're right. I'm sorry.
Sophie and George come walking in just as you're playing.
Okay, I'm going to show them then. Look,
Da-da-da. Sample.
Oh.
look,
Looking under the microscope. What?
look, watch.
Oh, did you manage to chip away at it?
No, watch, just look.
So
Electricity did that.
Oh my God.
the electricity basically solidifies and unsolidifies it, which is weird all in of itself.
This is
This is not
Oh,
a terrestrial
discovery.
rock. There's no way this could be. There's anything on Earth could be formed like this.
this is
And
a
the
hell of a
chip-
discovery,
Impossible.
Andrew.
The chip that Sophie has is small enough that you could fit it into the electron microscope if you want.
Eh.
Oh, yes, please. Thank you. Jerry, this is your area. Do you wanna take a
All
look?
right.
All right.
Stick it there. Scope in
So-
on it.
You scope, yeah, you scope in on it. At first, it doesn't seem to look remarkable at all. But then you go down to about 200 magnification. And this weird structure starts to sort of materialize out of because you're getting so close to it. It looks like this.
Oh, wow.
It's
Looks like overlapping scales or something when you get it.
which kind of explains why in one direction your hand
Yeah.
goes over it smoothly and in the other direction doesn't.
Oh,
So you continue to look closer, and this is what each individual scale looks like at 1,000 times magnification.
reminds me of a leaf almost.
You can all see this. There's actually a screen on there.
Thoughts, anyone?
Does it make you think of a plant? Yeah. What do you think, Sophie? Does that look like an organic organization?
Yeah, they like almost like fish scales. The way the
Hmm.
shiny on one end, rough on the other. This is so strange. What? Okay,
Can
this,
you-
is, this is a little silly, but what were the Roughnecks saying about the alleged creature the Russians had found? Did they say it had scales or something?
No,
maybe this is the result of all of the rumors. Like it's nothing super crazy, but this
George-
is the reality,
George, you-
something like that.
George, you might want to tell them not to do any new digging.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea.
We should not dig any further until we get a better look at this.
So Jerry, you ramp
It'll
it
come
up.
down to the site manager.
You
But
decide,
you can tell her why. Sorry.
you decide, Jerry, to go all the way up to 20,000 times.
Okay.
Oh,
Oh my
What is that?
it's artificial.
It is.
What
Look
is-
at
what's
this
that writing
writing
on
on
That's
it.
writing.
Is that Japanese?
No, it looks more
don't
like
think
cuneiform
so.
or something, but
Yeah, what is that?
Yeah, nothing I ever know.
Is that like you said someone said artificial? Is this like a serial number or something?
well, like any kind of artificial stuff like cables or wires has writing all along it, right? It's to identify
Right.
manufactural properties and stuff. And that looks like a bolt or connector of some kind.
Was this some kind of joke then?
You can't manufacture something like that.
Yeah.
We can't manufacture something like that. Or we could in a very small amount, but not in a huge amount.
I can't even imagine this. That magnification, putting the letters on something that small. I don't think we can manufacture it that well. That's mighty small.
Yeah,
When-
there's
when
nothing
does
that
my-
you could do. That's
When does my
fine.
brain explode, Tom?
Well, I mean, you can do a sanity roll if you want.
Yeah, I think I might need to do a little bit of one. Hold on.
Yeah, it's kind of mind blowing.
02. I actually can handle it. Apparently, I'm fine with this.
There are, I mean, there are people trying to develop nanotechnology.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
This is this is that small.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So obviously my brain is rationalizing this. So this could be evidence for some kind of Saurian age civilization.
Trying to rationalize it, and that's the first place.
Yes, that's the first thing, because geologists can kind of go like, well, you know, there was a period of time we can't account for when the reptiles could have evolved sapience and their civilization would have been wiped out. So I'm thinking Saurians. That's my brain's going.
Sounding like Jerry now.
Well, I'm looking at this thing. Jerry is right. Jerry is correct.
Well, look at it. You give me a good explanation.
Okay, at 1,000
feet. Give us a rational explanation for
at
this.
At 1,000 feet, how far back in time are we looking at? Roughly, at a guess.
Million years?
Oh, just a million?
Yeah, I don't know exactly.
Oh, okay. All right.
It's difficult to tell. You'd have to analyze the gas, but yeah, I don't have an answer.
Yeah.
Oh.
Man wasn't manufacturing materials at this point in time.
Well,
the question is, if we want to know if there's more, shouldn't we continue drilling?
Well, if it's an artificial structure of some kind, you don't want to necessarily keep drilling into it because you don't know what's going to happen. We need to get cameras down there. We need to get cameras down there and take pictures.
I was going to ask, how can we
cameras? We need cameras down there, or maybe send someone down on a hoist or something with a camera.
That's 3 foot wide, so we could go down.
Not it.
Yeah, who's skinny? Let's just send a camera down. Let's just send a camera down for now. Get some pictures.
Do a luck roll, because I'm not sure that you're going to have a.
Who has the lowest luck? I have 55.
60.
Oh,
whoever has the lowest luck rolls luck.
Right.
Oh, right.
65 for me.
That's you, Sophie.
Okay. All right. So I'll roll. Let's see. I have 55 and we rolled 38. Yep.
Okay. So you guys are able to rig together. I think one of you actually has MacGyvering.
That's me. Yeah.
Yay, that makes sense. Yeah, the engineer should be able to MacGyver.
There we go.
I should have said you do MacGyver.
Hey, Tom, I just need to disappear for a second.
Okay, let's take a minute break or 2-minute break.
2 minutes later.
So
all right, go ahead.
Yeah, we're thinking of trying to get them to stop drilling at this point so we can examine what it is we've cut into, and then maybe just move the rig over 50 feet in some direction, start anew, so they can keep drilling if they want to. Do you think you could convince them of that? George?
I could have a talk with her and see what happens.
Well, I think it's dangerous to continue drilling at this point, because this thing could respond, this object, whatever it is, could respond in ways that could be dangerous to the equipment and the crew.
I'll have a chat with her and we'll see what happens.
Yeah, and we may destroy something. We may just destroy something we don't want to destroy. We've got the find of a lifetime here.
Yeah.
Did you say it was an international effort here?
No, you're in international territory. Nobody owns this land.
So. Right. So I was going to ask if we could have a couple people look at the sample and see if we could identify the language or something similar to it. But if it's mostly Americans here, then it's probably moot.
There's probably a few ethnic groups involved in your roughnecks and so forth, and probably your scientists. If you want, you can use the thing to take a picture.
Sure, I'll take a picture, and
Yeah.
Okay.
We might want to send it to a linguistics person in the government or university. See if they recognize any of the symbols.
Sophie, do a spot hidden roll.
That's a regular success.
As you're getting your photograph of the electron microscope picture, it moves.
Whoa. Did anyone else see that?
Take a picture again?
Click, click. Picture.
Well, if you look at the screen, it moves.
Every time she takes a picture?
No, just every once in a while, it sort of flinches.
Oh my gosh. Well, it's either reacting to some stimuli or it's alive.
Well, I mean, does the electron microscope create any kind of field effect?
Yeah,
that might
it's
touching
basically bombarding it with electrons.
So it's just
Normally,
pointing-
it would kill anything that was in it. The living creature can't get put in there. In this case, and it's also in a vacuum. So the vacuum and the electron bombardment doesn't seem to be having any effect on it. So if it's alive, it's twitching.
We need to get a camera down into that drill hole.
Yes, yes,
Yeah.
yes. That's what I'm saying.
Absolutely.
All right.
Jerry, when you're done with that sample, I want to try a little mini experiment when you're done taking the pictures.
Okay. Well, let's get some more. See if we can record it being in a slightly different spot. And then any other ideas before we pass it on? Or looking
need to-
at it here?
Think of a way to keep this contained.
We can
I-
just come up with, I can make up a geologically sound reason why we should stop because of some kind of material we hit. We don't have to say it was an unearthly metal. We can say it's some sort of rock formation or something.
Yes, I just mean this it's moving that concerns me. I
I
want
see what you're saying.
some way.
We want to keep it from going somewhere.
I know, but it's not moving when we're not doing anything with it. I don't know. It's just so strange.
Well,
Um,
When that sample was, when we handed it to him, it was solid, right? Why don't we just put a current across it and see if it still moves when it's in the other state?
Oh, good idea.
So let's give it a little bit of a
Okay, so you're going to remove the sample from the electron microscope and
give it a little bit of voltage. Yeah,
And-
give it some
yeah,
shock
yeah,
therapy.
we'll assume you take the precautions of putting it in a container. It liquefies. It becomes a little puddle of liquid.
So put it back in the
Put it
microscope
back in
and
the
look at it.
microscope, yeah.
What you see when you look at it now under the microscope, the only way I could really describe it is if you've ever seen a hive of bees. It's like all of those little scale things are moving and flowing over one another, all in the same, always facing in the same direction. But you're not sure if it is a liquid or if it's just mimicking a liquid. Hundreds of billions and zillions of these things, even in that little puddle, are all sort of moving around like little insects.
Well,
Nanite is definitely what it
yeah,
is.
I guess the problem is, if it is nanite in nature, this has only been theorized by some current writers talking about, what's his name, Matt Kessler. Anyways, there's been people writing about nanotechnology. And one of the things they worry about is the gray goo, which is nanotechnology that goes out of control. Maybe the cold is keeping this thing contained.
So when it's in liquid form, it's definitely moving a lot more than when it was in solid.
The electricity must tell it to organize in the direction of the electricity. So it's conditioned to form a pattern in relation to it. We could probably get it to form shapes if we were smart about how we applied electricity to it.
well, last time it turned into a plate, flats.
Yeah,
Plate
because we
little
gave it a
shock.
little shock, but if we put electricity from two different points, and that's the
Right.
experimental scientists can do that stuff with it, but it's conditionable.
Yeah. It reacts to the stimuli.
But leaving it in the Antarctic might be the best thing to do. They're going to have to build a research lab for this stuff here on the premises, I think, maybe.
Let's see
I
if
don't
we
think-
can get a camera. Let's see if we can.
Yeah, let's get a camera down there. Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
I think start working on that.
All right. So you think you're going to have to go about 1,000 feet. The Roughnecks are working on, well, you talk to why don't we have George talk to Rachel? So what is it that you think we have to do?
I think that we need to stop the drilling at the moment. I believe if we continue drilling, we may actually damage the site. And we simply don't know what we're working with at the moment. So I believe that we need to research this more before we continue drilling.
Well, if this is some sort of layer, I mean, where do we drill? We don't want to drill for 2 days and find that we're still hitting this stuff.
We would need to try to get some sort of excavation, or at least try and view inside where we have drilled.
That would, I don't know that that's even possible, but if you're saying this stuff is harder than diamond, you know, it's well, you said you were going to take a camera down there. See if you can see which direction this stuff is, and we'll go in the opposite direction. But that's going to put us back a couple of days.
I think it would be worth it. I mean, this could be a once in a lifetime discovery. So,
well, I mean, you're kind of the one to give us that recommendation. So, I suppose we'll have to do that. Of course, everybody's getting paid for the extra days it'll take. I'll tell the boys and see if there's any conflicts or problems with that, because they go from job to job usually.
okay.
So, yeah, in the end, what she thinks is probably best is that you see if it's like a layer. They have to move, 100 feet away or 1,000 feet away, or move the whole camp, God forbid. They've set this all up. That would take a couple of weeks. All right. So you bring up the camera so that it goes down. You lower it slowly down, the winch, and you affix the light to it, obviously, so that you can see. So the picture it's very strange as it goes down, because the light from your camera sort of lights up the glacier itself on the inside. And the glacier is itself kind of that blue-green, haunting sort of color as you go down. But at 1,000 feet, you come to a point where you realize that you've come to the place where this rock came from. And as you rotate the camera around, you can see that this substance is about 5 feet thick. But fortunately, it only goes mostly in one direction. So it's this way in the ice. And on the other side, there's bits of it, but you can see that you must have caught the edge or a point on the edge that snapped off. If you go, 100 feet to the east, you'll be fine, and you won't be encountering it. Do a spot hidden, though, as you are looking at the sample on the camera.
Is that all of us?
All of us.
Well, you're all looking at the camera,
Yeah.
sure.
I got a regular success.
I've got an extreme success.
Oh, nice. Okay. Well, George points it out then, because he got the extreme success. But as he's looking at, you're looking, of course, at a camera. So there's there's like slight distortion from the camera itself. But you almost think it looks like a special effect from some movie. You can see that the substance is the same substance that's on the counter over there. But every once in a while, you see a little spark of electricity on the surface of it. It might just be the light sort of catching the crystalline structure, but it definitely looks like little sparks of electricity once in a while on this substance. It's also quite irregularly shaped. It's not like a flying saucer or a dome or anything. It's like a big gigantic chunk, buried in the ice a million years ago.
This thing is amazing. I have no idea what it is.
Strange, all right.
Well, aside from the fact that you're moving the rig, we should probably try to map out the dimensions of it. Maybe we can find something that we can ping it with. Sound or magnetics, or can't keep digging boreholes or sample holes. But
you definitely have some sort of seismic imaging stuff, like in Jurassic Park.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, okay. Yeah, I want to get out the seismic foam thing and measure out its circumference or whatever it is.
Now you're making me think of Kong.
So over the course of the rest of the day, and there's some sort of, there's a lot of disgruntled. It's not really, they're not disgruntled. They're going to get paid for it, but it's work they didn't expect to do. They have to dismantle the rig. They have to move the boilers. They have to move the whole situation 100 feet over. And, John Mercy's probably the one that complains that it's just, we were hoping, this place is fucking cold. We're really tired of, this. And but they managed to do it. So we'll assume that over the course of the next few days, it's all been moved over and it's being set up. So what do you want to do? What do you want to do then with this?
I'd like to take the pictures that I had and just see if anyone around camp, even if it's not a language people know, maybe like, oh, this looks a little familiar,
You try various people that, you ask them if they speak any other languages. You show them this text and do a luck roll. Well, I know it's not a luck roll. Let's do I guess it's a luck roll. Do a luck roll. Tell me what number you get.
Okay. I got on a 17.
Ooh, that's pretty good. One person. Dink.
Mm-hmm.
When you show it to Dink, he says that he wasn't planning on being a roughneck his whole life.
Sure.
He had started to get an education, and things didn't. He was going to be a scholar of various languages, but he never got a job. It never paid. And he ended up going into his family's business, which is the drill work and stuff like that. So now he's here. He says he thinks that he's seen something like that in an old book at the university that he went to long, years ago.
Yeah, sure. If I were to send this off, which university?
Miskatonic.
Oh, that's in Massachusetts, right?
It's in Massachusetts. Yeah.
Okay. Well, thank you. Maybe someone there can help us decipher it.
Cool. Yeah, it's really weird. What is that? Some sort of machine?
Yeah, I possibly. I don't know. We don't know what to make of it.
Cool. Actually, that brings up a cool. Are you telling any of the the roughnecks, what's been going on in the lab?
Well, we don't want to panic them. Oh God.
That's exactly my point.
Yeah, we need. Well, that's right. I need to make up a cover story that it's a type of geological fault or rock or something that's dangerous to drill on.
Well, you said that it was hard, so
yeah.
All right, I think they'll probably. Well, all right. There starts to be some interesting little rumors that start running around the camp that you guys might have found something, a piece of alien technology, piece of spaceship.
May not be far off the mark.
I rolled a 7. So
Okay.
when you are alone with some of these people, they'll tell me, what was it? What is it that you found? You get a lot of pressure like that. You can say, oh, it's just a rock, it's nothing. But yeah, you would say that, wouldn't you, if you actually found something? So the rumor mill sort of gets going. You're not that worried about it, but people are curious. Hopefully people don't start getting frightened. Now you could rig something up if you wanted to go down there, but you are in a 3.5-foot hole and you won't see anything more than what you've seen, and it's hard as a rock. So
well, I wanted to try one little experiment with our sample and the bigger piece. I want to turn them both to goo and then put them in the same container and then shock them and see if they reform as a unit.
Let's go into the details of that. If you turn them both to goo, do you put the smaller piece on top of the bigger piece?
Next to it.
How close next to it?
Very small gap.
Okay. If there is a gap, they both simply solidify the way that they were.
Okay. But if one's on top, that just becomes a general mass?
Well, if you test that, if there is even the slightest touch, they simply pull together and there's just one thing.
Okay.
You also find that when it's liquid, you can take it out. It's not as hard as diamond. You can scoop a cup of the stuff out.
Okay, I'm going to get some glass containers if you got some and try to see if we can get it to solidify in different shapes, just for shits and giggles, I guess. I don't know.
It takes on whatever shape it's in. Yeah. If this could be applied to some sort of industry, it would be astonishing the things that you could do with it.
Oh man.
Well, Jerry, if you and I, because you and I, I'm starting to think in the same way you do. I'm wondering if that's part of some kind of object. Maybe we should put the stuff back down there and get it to reconnect. Because we might have just knocked a big chunk off of something that needs to keep running.
Oh. Boy, I hate to give up all the evidence that we got something.
Yeah.
I mean, we got pictures, but you know how easy it is for somebody to laugh and say you faked the picture?
Yeah.
Actually, I'm surprised the military hasn't moved in already.
Well, yeah.
They don't know about it yet. So.
Yeah, no, we're not making a big stink about this.
So let's assume that a couple days have gone by. You guys have you've got the new rig up and going. You've covered the old borehole just, because it's dangerous. It's a 3.5-foot hole in the ground. You've tried to analyze the samples. It's easier to analyze the liquid samples. When you do a spectrograph, it's a little baffling. There's definitely some things in the spectrum that you can't identify, but for the most part, you're getting that the substance is made mostly of silicon, and beryllium, of all things, a metallic metal. But other things in there too, lots and lots of other little elements that are part of the whole thing. Silicon's the weird thing because it's glass, it's sand.
Yeah.
Second most abundant substance in the universe.
Andrew, did that comms officer ever say anything about hearing people on the radio?
Well, I asked him if he heard any, anything that sounded like Russians being particularly excited to let me know.
He let's see, do a luck roll.
Okay, hold on. Nope.
Okay, so he tells you that the most he's heard is some garbled. Sounds like Russian, but there's not enough to really
make out.
Make it.
I wonder if the rumor. I don't fully believe the rumors, but rumors usually have some basis in something. I wonder if they found something similar to what we found.
Well, if
there's one at all. I don't know.
It's possible because if you excuse my insane Saurian hypothesis, if there was such a civilization, its artifacts would exist at a certain stratification level. And if the Russians found something comparable and they put it away in one of their labs and they're looking for it here, then yeah, they could have found something exactly like this. I mean, it has to exist at the same time continuum, right. The same eon or epoch or era.
Well, we don't even know if there's a camp out there. It's all just rumor anyway. But
well,
I don't know. Who knows?
Given that this thing exists where it does exist, it's a non-zero chance it exists elsewhere in the world at the same level or depth in other places, and the Russians could have come across it. And if they did, they would definitely be looking anywhere else that matched the characteristics. So the world still exists, so whatever they found, and it didn't kill everybody. But
Wait, what does the glaciologist make of all this? Have we read him in?
Oh God, yeah.
He says the one thing that you have to realize is that there's often gaps and things in the ice, and sometimes those gaps can be filled with other substances that have leaked into them, over the years. It's not that unusual. The thing that you found is very, very strange. It reminds him of like a colloidal liquid that under the right stress gets suddenly solid, and then can be released from that solid state. It's fascinating, but he doesn't know any more than you do.
Do we have any idea of how big it is from the seismographic stuff?
Oh, well, okay. I was going to do the seismograph. So you do the seismograph, and it shows a couple of interesting things. One is this object, whatever it is. It's barely there, according to the seismograph. It's like its substance is almost like the ice, so it's almost non-reflective as far as picking up the vibration. It vibrates at the same frequency as the ice, but just far enough where you can sort of see the shadow of it. You can't really see how thick it is, but if it's 5 feet or so thick, there's probably a good 30 or 40 foot chunk of it down there. It's not in any particular shape. It's kind of irregularly shaped. So the glaciologist tells you that it very much does look like some sort of a substance that's been excreted there, from something. a pool of something that eventually got frozen over and buried in the
So-
ice.
Like maybe a type of industrial waste.
Maybe. I mean, they wouldn't say industrial waste. No, not at that level. That's a million years ago. Yeah, there's no. Surprised you would think that. How odd.
I'm hanging out with Jerry a bit too much.
Well, we found it and it has letters on it. To me, that rules out life.
You know,
Unless
there are a
created
lot
life.
of things in nature that look like things that you wouldn't expect. In fact, I once saw a poster of butterfly wings with the alphabet A, B, C, D, E, F, G, all, because that's what you looked when you saw the butterfly wings. So I'm not so sure those are what you think they are.
Hmm.
They're like the crackles in a painting, or unusual, yes. Alien, probably not.
This man speaks with some sense, gentlemen.
So, Sophie, did you have any luck with your linguist buddy at university, or
Yeah,
did
he said that it looked a little familiar, that at some university back in America, but I mean, I don't think we have a way to get it to them, right? It's
Well, we
1995.
we got satellite communications and we got shortwave. I don't know. I mean, I don't remember how easy it was to get stuff around in the 90s.
Yeah,
but-
I was about to say it was the 90s. I don't really know.
They had fax machines, but you're now also talking about turning information over to people in the university.
Like, I don't really have a dog in this fight. This seems to kind of be you and Jerry's discovery, and I'm happy for you. I don't know. Do you want me to ship this off to Miss Katonic?
You also have your scientific reputations.
It's true.
People
we could make
certainly think
an
this is a hoax.
an anonymous inquiry, maybe.
Well, we could just show the letters, not say anything about it. Does anybody recognize these letters? This inscription. Not say that we found it, where we found it, or what it looks like, or anything else.
Good. You want to put your name on this, Jerry? Because
Sure.
I don't.
I'll send it to Mr. Tonic.
Everyone already knows you have weird theories.
That's
Yeah.
true. That's true, Jerry. Your reputation is perfect for this.
Yeah. No one will take it too seriously.
So everybody do listen, Willis.
Nope.
Failure.
Failure for me as well.
You all failed. Okay, cool. And the end of the world comes. That's the end.
Oh,
Yes. Just because of one roll.
So as you are standing there arguing or discussing, you suddenly become aware of a noise. You didn't hear it coming, but it sounds like the sound of snowcats.
Oh God.
And once you realize it, you realize there's the sound of snowcats, and you see Rachel come like through the place and go outside, grab a coat and go outside.
May as well go see what's going on.
And you know what? I think that's a good spot for a break. So 5 minute bio break.
Oh, that's where we get the 5 minutes later. Did you guys get that from SpongeBob?
Yeah.
I thought so. I thought I recognized it. I knew it was from SpongeBob.
Everybody gets it from SpongeBob.
Okay.
Except I made my own graphics. So-
Yeah.
And my own voice.
Oh, that was you going 5 minutes
Yeah.
later. Yeah.
I'll be right back.
5 minutes later.
All right. So you guys go outside and you see that a number of snowcats that have big truck things on the backs of them are pulling up not into your camp, but right on the edge of your camp. And there are Russian flags on them. And they start getting out and unloading equipment. Rachel is livid. She goes up there. No, you can't do that here. And they just they start to set up a camp. She yells back, "Does anybody speak Russian?"
Yeah. Do you want me to go over there and talk to them, or do you want me to translate
please.
for you?
Tell them they can't set up here. This is our camp.
All right, I'll head over to the camp, and I'll look for someone who looks like the camp foreman or whatever.
Okay. A fellow by the name of Dmitry Kokolov. He says, "Oh, hello, comrade. We decided we could get a much better chances of getting to that lake that you yourselves are digging for, but we need to move our camp right over here."
But it's such a big lake. Why do you need to be right next to us?
Why do you need to be here?
We were here. We got here.
We have been unsuccessful so far, so we wanted to move to a more strategic vantage point.
I see.
It's a free country, as
yeah.
like to say.
Do you want to warm up your reception a bit?
I don't know what you mean.
Did you bring any supplies of?
Oh,
yes.
Well, let's just say that our Russian masters are much more lenient as far as that sort of thing goes.
Yes.
Which I actually didn't mention earlier to you. Alcohol and smoking are not allowed in your guys' camp. However,
that makes sense.
Some people do bring secretly sneak in some whiskey and stuff like that. But yeah.
Are you I'll ask him if he's got an outbuilding for the relaxing and drinking of stuff that
of course
perhaps
we do. But it's going to take us a while. So have you found anything interesting?
It's just still digging.
Rachel is like, what are they saying? What are they saying?
Well, so the problem is that it is international grounds. They can set up where they want. And they failed to find anything where they were looking. And I think intuitively they thought perhaps we were parked closer to something intriguing, and they're just trying to find the water, they claim.
Well, tell them it's too close. I mean,
but we
300 feet over there or so. I mean, the way they're setting up, it's practically going to be one big camp. And she sort of looks over him. She says, move over.
So what is his name? Did you say his name was Sergey or Ivan? What was it?
It's Dmitry Kokolov.
Dmitry. I'm so sorry, Dmitry, but my boss,
You have a woman as a boss?
Yeah, well, you have women as bosses in Russia, yes. It's a good communist country. Women can be bosses.
We let them think so.
Well, okay. Well, she is effectively a boss. And she is uncomfortable with the closeness of the two camps. How far could you possibly move and still get your operation going? Just give her some distance.
The Cold War is over, my friend.
I know, but we don't want her getting antsy and, you haven't set up anything yet. Can you give us some distance?
I don't want to cause an international incident. So he says to his people, move it over 300 feet.
I'll join you for a drink later, maybe, if you're up for it.
Yeah, come over. Tell me your adventures so far.
Yeah. Okay.
You're all invited.
All right, but I think some other people might be interested too. Then, yeah. All right, I'll go back.
They move a little farther away. They're considered they're about a football field away.
Okay. Is that good enough?
There's nothing we can do about it. So I just, didn't want them. Keep all of that stuff under wraps.
Mm-hmm.
Don't tell them anything.
I've read my Jean Le Carré novels. I know what I'm supposed to do here.
Tell the Roughnecks to keep all the rumors contained to this.
Yeah,
camp.
well,
I've heard.
We need to
I've heard
talk
what
to
they're
the
saying.
foreman and get him to do that, I think.
Right. That's John.
Yeah.
He tells you, he says, that's going to be, it's Jerry. I mean, it's George that he would be talking to. Yeah, that's going to be really hard. I mean, I can't control what these people are doing. And now that you got a bunch of Russians with their potato water.
Yeah.
Everybody's going to be drunk.
Yeah. So maybe what we need is a really ridiculous story, if anyone can think of something that's circulating.
Well, it sounds like some of the stories circulating right now are pretty ridiculous.
Yeah, that's right. So
tell them we found a gigantic 8-legged octopus creature. That seems to be the one that we heard about them.
Yeah, okay.
Put Jerry on the case. I'm sure he'll come up with something crazy.
Yeah, Jerry, can you make up something that they just couldn't buy, even though they could think we'd be dumb enough to?
Lots of UFOs.
UFOs?
Lots of UFOs.
Nazi UFOs?
Yeah.
Okay.
They were down here during the Second World War, you know.
Yeah, they might buy that we think that.
Yes, you realize, comrade, we are the ones that won that war. We pushed
Yeah.
the Nazis back in.
I won't deny it. I wouldn't mind having some of their potato water. I picked up a taste for it when I was in my graduate studies.
Listen, Jerry, if we go have a drink with them, start spouting out the craziest nonsense
Yes.
you can think of.
Yes. Get right. give them the whack job tour.
Yeah, there's all sorts of things going on down here.
Excellent. Just go down the list. Name
All
them
right.
all.
All right. So there's a little bit of tension, but the tension between the two sides is mostly with the people in charge. A little bit with the Roughnecks because, they're a little more inclined to listen to rumors and think, these are the evil Russians that have come to it. But for you guys, over the course of the next day or so, you come to realize that this Dmitry Kokolov, he's loosely sort of in charge of the resetup, but he's really more the communications officer.
Mm-hmm.
So now that they're so close, every time they transmit something, Harry can pick it up really easily. And if you want him to continue to transcribe.
Sure, absolutely.
So far, all it sounds like is just regular old communications, usually between Dmitry and another camp they have on the coast, which you guys kind of have a camp on the coast as well. It's not doing anything. It's just a standard communications camp. You also have another glaciologist, Nicholas Fyodorov. You have another chemist, Alec Andreev, and you have a climatologist, Anna Popendrov.
Oh.
And they are very happy to discuss scientific questions and things with you.
Sure, we could set up a dinner date with the group of us and just chitter chat.
So indeed, that's kind of what you decide to do, is in the spirit of international communications, you communicate. All right. The Russians are also big on singing and dancing. So very quickly, the party turns into a real party. And they're always, the only problem is that they're constantly trying to get a little information out. You can't help them. You can't blame them for at least trying.
Yeah, of course. They like their gossip and their rumors.
And they're good at it. They're good at.
Oh, yeah.
So your man told us that you have found something very interesting, which they don't actually know whether you found anything interesting, but they're fishing.
I'm gonna see if we can get them to brag about their credentials and what they've done. Get them get the. Oh yes, you did this, and I heard you did that, and.
Unfortunately, it sounds a lot like gobbledygook because, I mean, it doesn't sound disingenuous. It's just all of the names and places and everything is Russian. Not so hard for you to pronounce, but hard for everybody else to remember.
Were any of them involved in Vladivostok or whatever it was?
Vladivostok and
Okay.
Moscow and all the other places that are there. But they seem to be a fairly nice. I mean, they're scientists. They're not soldiers. All right. On the fifth day, the relations have been going pretty well with them. It's early afternoon, and once again, I'd like you to all do listen rolls. You've actually gotten down quite a ways.
Nothing here.
Tom, before we get that far into it, with Jerry, I'm going to see if we can find some kind of set of containers that we can pour the stuff into and then electrocute it so it takes on the shape like maybe in a radiator,
right?
Or something that just doesn't look like a big rock. It's just going to be hidden in something.
Sure.
In a radiator or something like that.
Yeah, you find that fairly simple to do.
Okay.
I failed.
All right.
Yep.
09.
Oh,
It all starts with a vibration.
Oh no.
The ground underneath you begins to vibrate. The Russians are also drilling at this time, but they've only been drilling for a day, so they're not very deep at all. You guys, I believe, are approaching. You're at least beyond 5,000, 6,000 feet down already. It starts with a vibration of the ground, and then there's a noise. It's obviously being caused by the drill itself, a vibration running up the drill. There's a moment of sudden panic as everyone starts running away from the drill.
oh no.
The only person that's kind of stuck where he is John Mercy, who is on top of the drill rig. They were preparing to add more length to the drill. There is a steam explosion as water, superheated water, comes blasting out of the shaft and blows him off the rig, but not before pretty much boiling him alive. He falls to the ground, and it's about 35 feet. He falls to the ground, and the people start to come running up to try and save him. A couple of the other guys have come running out and thrown themselves into the snow because they're also severely burned on their chest and their arms. And there is a very strange earth cracking sound, that sort of sound that you heard before. But this time, everything starts to vibrate. And from where the old pit, the old borehole was, to where the new borehole was, and for maybe I don't know, 200 feet all the way around it, the ground begins to subside. It begins to drop.
No.
And you can all do dexterity rolls to see if you're knocked off your feet.
Failure.
Normal success.
Normal success.
Okay.
Oh, great success.
So as you succeed, you manage to grab a hold of something as the land itself begins to tilt. Sophie, you lose footing and you roll a bit. The whole area is turned into a kind of crater that has sunk down maybe 30 feet down into the ground. The rig has been demolished and most of it has been funneled right down the hole and has clattered right out of existence. As far as the boilers have exploded all over the snow, and the Russians come running to help because they see that this disaster has happened. And then everything sort of goes quiet, but except for steam and the screaming and yelling and everything.
Is our camp in this crater as well? Like
Your camp is right on the edge, so your lab has probably shifted and sunk at one end a little bit, but not so the point where all of your equipment is
right.
come flying out.
Oh my God.
Uh,
I'll be running to try to help people.
Yeah.
Yeah, the guys rolling in the snow and everything. Yeah.
I'll be doing the same as well.
Okay.
Yeah, just get them up to the med facility.
The men who were burned, they're in extreme pain, although a lot of it is third-degree burns. Unfortunately, John Mercy, run up to John. He's barely conscious, and if you even try to touch his skin, it sort of sloughs off. You can do you do sanity rolls.
Pass.
Pass.
Ooh, yeah.
Pass as well.
So take 1 point of damage if you pass. If you fail, take 1d4.
I don't know that we can move him. Look at the state of him.
He's probably not going to survive for more.
Yeah, I think it might just be more of a kindness to leave him. If we start trying to move him, he's going to be in agony.
Can we get some opiates from the first aid guys? Like morphine or something?
Stuff, but what they'll want to do, I mean, he's laying in the freezing snow, so
he's going to lose his nerve extremity feeling pretty soon anyways.
They somehow managed to get him delicately onto a gurney, but
okay.
His he was blasted with 600-degree.
No, he's yeah.
They take him in, and they try to do something, but in a few minutes he goes into shock, and
yeah,
there's no saving him. The injured men are in a great deal of pain, but they're being treated. And some of them, they were injured to the point where they're probably not going to be working. Maybe never. But how did this happen? Nobody knows exactly what happened, except that the whole area seems to have subsided. Right about 5,000 feet is where they were drilling. And they seem to have cracked into a void, which destabilized the whole thing. One of the guys,
so the
one of the guys said it was like cracking into an eggshell.
Well, we need to go have a look at this.
Yeah, let's go look at where the center of it would be.
The Russians, of course, are also very helpful. They're also very interested in what happened. And, they're kind of all over your camp at this point because nobody's telling them to leave.
Yeah.
All right. So the ground has subsided and cracked all around the second borehole, you're guessing that most of the equipment fell into the hole, and you don't see any, so it's dropped 5,000 feet down.
Oh, okay.
There's of course a lot of stuff across the hole and on top because the whole structure kind of collapsed. You do have enough cable if you
lower a
wanted
camera?
to go down there and see if there's anything salvageable.
Are all of the people accounted for? Did anybody go down with the rig?
Nobody went down with the rig.
Okay.
John was the last one, and he was in the process of getting off when he got blasted.
So are you saying we could run a winch or something to lower a platform with us on down to look? Is that what you're saying? Or
Well, you'd have to do, I mean, it wouldn't be a platform, but it would be like sitting on a swing.
Mm.
You know, I mean, the hole's still only this big, but the cable's strong enough that they could literally put you one after the other if you all wanted to go down.
I mean, this whole area feels completely unstable. I would be worried about our own safety.
Well, God, I know what a real geologist would do right now. Is there anything in geology where this kind of air gap and then collapse that I know of, and therefore I would suggest now it's done, it's stable? Or
Well, you would think, you know, it could be something like a salt dome
okay,
that you've cut into. It's been stable for millions and millions of years.
right.
So it's probably just right where you cracked through the.
But it seems reasonable to think that we've collapsed to the bottom of it at this point.
Right. Yeah.
Okay, so I'm going to opinion that I think we're about as stable as we're going to get at this point.
I trust your expertise, Andrew. If you think it's safe, then
I'll do it for 2 Scooby snacks.
There you go.
What do you think, George? Should we go down the hole?
Yeah, I want to look.
I think we should, yeah.
It's your drilling equipment down there too. Yeah, probably.
Yep. They're going to take it out of my pay.
Shoot.
All right. So George, once again, you MacGyver the whole rig, second rig.
Yep.
So that you guys can lower yourselves down there.
Can I make sure that we get some sort of equipment before we actually go down?
Sure. You tell me what you guys want to take with you.
Well, obviously, if we're going to go in quite deep, we're going to need light sources. It's going to get more possibly colder down there as well. So something for more warmth, first aid kits in case there's an emergency.
I think geologically, when you go down
It shouldn't get
the ground, it should actually get a little warmer.
Yep.
Okay.
It'll never get above 32 though, because it's all ice.
Okay.
Cameras,
Yeah, I'm going to bring a video camera. I'm going to bring a camera.
field kit, just in case
Field
we
kit.
manage to get some kind of collection.
Geiger counter just in case.
Wise.
Um,
The Russian encampment is not affected by this at all, correct?
No.
Okay.
They're
would we
far
have
enough
any?
away.
Would we have anything like in case we hit poisonous gas layers or something like gas masks or something? Is that something we'd have?
Yeah, I mean that's not unreasonable. I'm not
Okay,
sure
we'll
why
bring-
you would have them here, but who knows?
Okay,
Yeah.
we'll bring some gas masks just in case, because you never know.
And some ice picks for climbing or something like
Yeah.
that.
Right. And for getting samples.
All right. So you create this rig, and you start. You have some of the roughnecks are helping to lower you down. The others are cleaning up the mess. Some of them are digging a grave for poor John. And you've kind of rigged this up like imagine if there were 4 seats on top of one another, so that you're rigged in there. You're going down, and you've got carabiners that are got you strapped on, so you're cool. You've got plenty of light to go down, and it's going to take about an hour to get you down there, because it's a mile down.
So we have radio so we can talk to the people up
Sure.
above when
Yeah.
we pulled up.
Right.
Oh,
Yeah.
So we think there might be fresh water down there, I guess.
Well, it's
or a
all
lake.
fresh water.
So
Technically.
can we bring in, I don't know if we'd have this.
Oh.
Could we bring an inflatable raft?
You're actually not anywhere near the lake yet. You
Oh,
have
okay,
another
all right,
couple
okay,
days
all
to
right,
go
all
before
right,
you
sure.
get to the lake.
All right.
This is something between you and the lake.
Okay.
You start down, and it becomes very hypnotic and monotonous for that hour going down. Who is going first? What order are you guys going in?
I'll go first.
Okay, George goes first.
I'll go second.
Okay, George, chemist.
I guess I'll go third. Okay, fourth. Fine.
Okay. So Sophie and then Andrew. All right. So George, you can see down below you that the hole for the borehole you're in suddenly opens up. And as you suddenly go out, you suddenly find yourself in this gigantic oval sort of shaped chamber. Your guess is that it's at least 600 feet across, deep, maybe 300 feet wide, and maybe 300 feet tall. So it's like a gigantic egg shape or ovoid under the ground. There seem to be odd lights in the distance towards the middle of this, and some sort of gigantic structure. You also notice that there are pillars that are coming up and supporting part of the roof where the whole thing is cracked through. And directly beneath you, you can see all of the mangled equipment that has fallen in and landed in this hole. If the ovoid was like this, you've kind of come in way over here on one end of it. So the wall is actually kind of slanted right where you're coming in. And then each of you sees this in turn as you go in. The cable goes down another 100 feet and you land on the ground. There is a great deal of ice and snow and damaged equipment all around you. But you can stabilize yourself, so you're fairly safe. You're not gonna get crushed by anything. And you radio up above. Okay, stop.
Yep.
So what do you do?
Look around. Do the lights look anything like what we witnessed with the specimens?
Not really. It's weird. It's almost like there's some sort of source of colored lights that are shining up from the ground. Now that you're on the ground and you're sort of looking into the valley of this gigantic ovoid you're in, they're a little bit obscured by structures that are in there. They almost look like buildings or something like that. The pillars, however, are really odd because they're not natural. They look like they were manufactured. They are five-sided, which is also unusual for everything you've ever seen is either round or it's a hexagon at least. This is five-sided. It's also in here, it's very symmetrical. Everything is, this whole chamber has to be artificial. It's perfectly smooth. It's
okay. And is everyone else coming down after me, or are they waiting up?
So it's like you land and move away, and the next one, and then the next one.
Well, I'm gonna radio up to whoever's on the service and basically tell them I've found something highly unusual and I want it named after me. Do the lights do they have any sort of like they're going off into a direction, like they're tapering off towards something, or?
Well, it's if I were to describe it in terms that we can visualize, imagine if you were on a hill looking down at a cluster of buildings, and somebody in the middle of the buildings had electric lights that were blinking and shining upwards. So you can only really see the light shining up. You don't see the individual, whatever it is. And
Okay.
you see that, and you really see them because there's some sort of odd structure that hangs down from the center of this ovoid, kind of like a big cone coming down. So it looks very alien
Okay.
without all of the googly things going on.
Okay, well, I'm going to yell up to the others, guys, you need to get down here and see this. This is just amazing, and it's definitely being named after me.
Bold claim there, George.
Oh, don't see any swastikas, do I?
I don't think this is Nazis, Jerry.
No.
Okay.
They weren't into 5-sided things, I don't think. I'm gonna
pictures.
Yeah, video pan.
Yeah, it's very strange looking. What do? I mean, you can go down towards the structures.
I'm definitely going to go down towards the structures.
Okay. So most of the debris and snow and ice have landed underneath. So you've got maybe 100 feet around, you've got, debris that gets lesser and lesser. And then you're stepping on the actual structure itself, this gigantic oval figure, like in a gigantic eggshell. And you can see these little buildings up ahead of you. Since you're walking first, George, do a listen roll.
I failed.
You failed. Okay, so you don't hear it. Everybody else do listen rolls as you're going.
Or anything yet, so.
Oh, that's actually a success.
No.
No.
Pass.
Okay, well,
What?
Sophia all of a sudden puts her hands on everyone. Wait. Somewhere off in the distance, you can hear something that sounds like music. Like somebody, maybe a couple of people playing flutes.
Do you hear
Except they're
that?
not playing a tune, they're just sort of randomly playing.
George, turn the radio off for a minute. Is that someone up on the surface?
I'm going to turn it off, and
I think I may hear some whistling type.
does it sound like it's coming off in any direction?
Yeah, it's
Any
coming from
particular
where the
direction?
lights are. And it's
I'll-
intermittent. It doesn't happen all the time. It's just occasionally you'll hear.
I'll say to Sophie, I think it's coming from that direction.
Okay, we'll turn the radio back on. We don't want to lose comms
Yeah,
from
yeah.
the surface. Yeah.
Should we investigate, or should we possibly get more people down here, or?
It would take an hour for anybody to get down.
Yeah.
Okay, maybe not.
I think we need to go forward.
Yeah.
What the hell makes music like that? We're
Well-
in the middle of the ice.
Well, now that we're here, it could be like an Aeolian harp or something. Maybe there's a breeze going through some chimes or something. It's obviously artificial. There could be musical note-making things hanging on something.
Oh, we could let air in this make a whistling
Yeah.
noise. Holes.
Yeah, that's true. There could be a natural formation that would do that too.
So as you move forward, you get closer to these smaller structures, and you realize that you can actually, because of the sort of gentle curve of everything, you can sort of step out onto them and move forward towards the middle where it's a little more sunken in, and these play of blinking lights, I guess, is coming from. And that's when you see it. Moving around the area is a creature. It stands about 9-10 feet tall, and it has an odd starfish thing on its head, and it has eyeballs, and it has very complex sort of tentacle-like filaments that are coming out of it, and it's frantically rushing around the machine, and this piping noise is coming from it as it's doing all of this. Do a stealth roll.
Do any sanity or just stealth for now?
Yeah, you can do sanity too.
All right, that's a failure on the stealth. But pass
I
on
hold-
sanity.
Yeah, failed stealth,
successful.
sanity.
Pass stealth. Pass sanity.
So did everybody pass their sanity? Okay.
We're dealing with this really well.
If you passed your sanity, you do 1d4.
Okay.
Oh,
Tell me what you got.
3.
3.
1.
Okay. So Andrew and George, you got 3s. The way I usually run it is a 3 on that kind of sanity. You don't suffer any kind of middle thing, but you do go, Jesus Christ.
Explains the way we failed the stealth roll.
When you do that, the creature that's doing something suddenly stops, and you're not even sure that it turns because it's got what look like 5 eyes around the top of its head.
Yeah.
And it starts waving these things at you, and this voice comes out in clear Russian, which, Andrew, you understand. It says, "Oh, hello, I am so glad you're here. I need your assistance." And all you guys hear is something in Russian.
Oh,
Is that Russian?
yes. How can we help you, comrade?
You speak my language? Because he heard her say something. And he's got there's this sort of apparatus on its chest that starts fiddling with dials. And it says, "Can you understand me now?" And it's now in English. "Can you understand me? Is that good?
Good.
Yes.
Please come. We need to do this now."
I'm not getting anywhere near that thing.
What did you guys-
I'm gonna-
George, how do we get back
Well-
up to the surface, George?
I'm radioing back to the surface, and I'm
Is there
saying
any
we need to get out.
skill for telling the intentionality of creatures that aren't human?
Well,
Anything?
you know, I mean,
Well, okay.
do an intelligence roll. I'll
Okay.
have you do that. You can all do intelligence rolls.
Yep. Okay, I made it.
Okay. It seems to be distressed about whatever is going on with
Well, that makes sense.
apparatus. This seems to be some kind of machine, the focus of which is this big gigantic cone structure above. There are tubes and things going into it, and there are panels and lights flashing and things. I mean, what do you do?
I'm
It
running
obviously,
back for that.
it obviously
lift.
speaks your language.
Yeah.
I'm running back for that lift.
I'm looking to Jerry and going to Jerry, whatever we broke, it might be bad that it's broke. Maybe we should go talk to it.
I think so. Yeah.
I mean,
We can make
you're within
Okay.
15 feet of it at this
Yeah.
point.
How can we help you? What can we do?
Well, the machine, you have somehow activated the machine. We must stop it, or it's the end of the world.
Oh my
Oh,
god.
Yeah.
yeah.
What could we have done to activate it?
You breached the sphere.
What we just did.
Yeah.
He says, he says, please, if we can repair this, then finally, maybe you can take me out into the sunlight again. It's been
Okay.
so long.
Yeah. It's cold out there, but sunshine's all the time.
Well,
My name is Dimitri.
Dimitri. Pleasure to meet you, Dimitri. I'm Andrew. That's Jerry. This is
Yeah.
George. Sophia, who's running away. She's very nice.
You suddenly realize that the voice that he's projecting at you does sound like Dimitri from up above. And considering the fact that he's got, Dimitri Kokolo,
Communications officer.
that if he's got a box on his chest that allows him to speak English, it's because he's been listening to the radios and now he's mimicking Dimitri's voice. It's the only voice that he's heard. And he speaks Russian because
he's been listening to Russian.
I speak English too.
Good. It's good you speak English. Dimitri, how can we fix this?
I am reading the instruction manual now. I've been here waiting. There was once a great war. Sophie, as you and George are heading back to the cable, you can hear all this. It's not, it's echoing. Do you want to just keep going?
While I'm running, I'm gonna be basically telling the surface what's happening, and apparently there's some sort of machine.
Whatever that thing is, George, I can almost guarantee you it's lying. It's lying. It wants to get back up to the surface. We need to get out of here.
We need to get out of here now. So yeah, I'm going.
Guys, we broke it. We should fix it.
Have fun with that.
You broke it, you bought it.
God.
George. As you're communicating with the people up above, you get the impression that something's going wrong. Maybe you don't know what. The person on the phone is like, wait, hold on, there's something. Oh, what the fuck is that? And he's like, there's something up here. And then you hear screams and everything goes dead.
Okay. Can Sophie hear this as well?
Well, if she's listening to the radio, yes.
Yeah.
What do we do? I'm assuming they have to get us up. Like we can't get ourselves back up to the surface by the nature of whatever this thing is.
All I've got is a pickaxe. What else do we? What else did we bring?
I heard nothing is going to get us up to the surface. Oh my god! It's a
mile up. Yeah.
What?
Okay. I think
we got to get back up
back
to the surface. If that thing has a way to get back up to the surface, we can, whatever that thing, we can deal with it later, right? We need to get back up. We're going to die down here if no one's going to help us get back up there. And no one's responding because I'm like trying every couple of minutes. Like,
yep. Well, I'm gonna continue yelling into the radio. Do we hear anything?
Nothing.
Anything else? Nothing. I keep saying to Sophie, like they would have said something by now.
It's not. It doesn't sound like somebody's not talking. It sounds like it's dead. Like you're not even getting a static or click.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, the way I see it, we have two options. We wait and see if they fix whatever's going on up there and then have them haul us back up here, which is viable, but how long are we going to withstand conditions like this? or we go help that thing and hopefully get a ride back to the surface, because otherwise we're going to die here.
Let's go back to that thing.
Okay, so you're moving back towards the thing, and it's decided to explain what's going on.
Yep, we're listening.
Long ago, there was a great war between my people and the other things, the mineral stealers. They came to your world to steal minerals, and there were great wars between my people and your people, and the wars did not go very good. And what you are now standing in is our ultimate weapon.
Okay.
It was designed so that if they attacked and they breached the sphere, that this mechanism would now activate. And once it activates, it will bore a hole down into the large lake that is underneath us, and it will vaporize it, causing the whole end of the planet to be destroyed by a super volcano, which will black out the sun and darken the world for thousands of years, which they left me here. Do you understand? They've left me here. I've been here all alone for so many years. I just want to leave. But if we don't stop the machine, we will all die, and everybody else with us.
Point at the machine. That's the thing up above that's going to do it?
Yes, this is the catalyst.
Okay.
It will bore its way into the earth here. But
I
think that I can help you to help me turn this thing off. It's actually quite simple once you understand it. You'll see our language and these little finger things. It's like he's got, looks like coral, but all of the little tips he's able to do. And he says, you can, it is almost like it plays like music in order to activate. And he moves over to the other side and he says, what you can do is you have 5 because we gave them to you so that you could help us do the machine. But now, if you stand there and you stand there, the others are coming back. Good. We can use them as well. Hello.
Come on over. I need your fingers.
What happened on the surface? Dimitri? What happened on the surface?
What happened on the surface?
What did you do?
I have not been to the surface in millions of years. I so want to go and see the surface again. What? What do you mean something is
nobody's answering. Andrew, Jerry, no one's answering up there anymore. Something happened.
Everybody do listen to this.
And whatever it was probably this thing. No.
Yep.
No.
Normal success.
No on everybody?
No, normal success.
Oh, okay. Well, Andrew, there's a moment when, now you're hearing a number of things. You're hearing him pipe because he's making these noises and this thing is translating it into English.
Sure.
The machine itself around you is kind of making a humming noise. But you start to hear kind of a hissing noise, like steam escaping from somewhere. Right. And it seems to have been getting louder and louder as you're standing there. Dimitri, the elder thing, he's like, you see, it's color coded. It's actually quite simple to understand. And all of a sudden, something behind him comes out of the dark, and you see this blue spike come through his center, and this tentacle wrap around his head, and rip it off. And
Oh shit.
kind of bluish blood splatters everywhere. And this gigantic crystalline thing rears up behind. What do you do? Okay, now you can do sanity rolls.
Pass. Yeah.
Still made it.
Okay.
Pass.
I'm sure we still lost something. Huh?
This time if you pass, you can do a 1d6.
Ooh.
And if you fail, 1d10.
It's the one. I am getting away with murder over here.
Oh shit, 5.
Sophie's
I
like,
lost 3.
well, I've seen everything.
Four for
Like,
me.
I didn't like that guy anyway.
Who lost 5?
This guy.
Roll a 1d8 for me.
Oh,
Actually, roll intelligence for me.
Okay. Oh, you're right. Yeah, because I might blow that. Nope, I made it.
Okay, yeah, don't roll 1d8 then.
Okay, I got a 3 on the D8.
Okay, roll a 1d4.
1.
Okay, oddly enough, you got hysterical laughing. So you're falling back and you're just like,
They're just like, that's the
universe
best.
is-
Look at that.
the universe is insane.
That's
so-
just awesome. I can't believe how hilarious this is.
Did
This is
anybody
great.
else lose more than 5? No,
Three.
okay. So you guys are terrified. Andrew's lost his mind. For 7 rounds. Holy shit.
Oh, shit. Sure.
All right. What do the 3 of you do?
start
So is
playing with the
anything-
colored keys.
Okay. I mean, this creature is pretty I mean, he's right there.
Oh,
Is it moving toward us or anything?
Well, it did what it did, and now it's sort of it's hesitating, but you can see that it sort of flows like water. And it's
need to shock it.
it might be trying to analyze what it is that it wants to do next.
How do we shock it? Do we bring anything to shock it?
We got a radio.
There are a lot of wires and
Okay.
electrical
Yeah, we can
equipment.
manage. We could MacGyver something.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah, George. you
Oh,
wanna
there's
say
an idea.
something?
I'm gonna MacGyver the radio. MacGyver.
It's
I
like
got a hard pass.
Ah,
Oh, good.
so you actually grab a large cable that you see going into a machine and you jam it into the thing, and the thing, just as it's about to sort of pounce on you, freezes in place, becomes solid. All right, you said you wanted to try and figure the machine out.
Oh, yeah, that's good. That's good.
I'm gonna try to shake Andrew out of it while they're doing that.
Oh, this is the best. This is like Borscht Belt comedy here, man. Like Three Stooges. This is awesome. Oh,
I'm gonna help Jerry.
what next? What next? Come on.
Where is it?
Oh,
All right, I would like whoever's working on it to roll intelligence rolls.
Oh, very good. I'm better at that.
Just passed.
And you can spend luck, remember.
Oh, okay.
Okay. So
40.
Okay. I'll
Seven.
spend 12 to make it a hard pass.
how about
I
you?
changed mine to hard pass too.
Okay, excellent. You start doing what he was doing, where your fingers go into the little holes and the colors on the panel start to change. You get the impression that you need to sync up the colors so that it all sort of, it's like putting together a puzzle. But for a moment, you begin to realize you really need at least 2 other hands. Andrew, well, Sophie, you're helping
I'm yelling
Andrew.
out.
Yeah, I'm trying to like shake him out of it.
Right.
I'm yelling out to Sophie.
Simon says.
We need her help.
Fine. I'm like slap Andrew across the face and then go run.
All right.
That was a good slap. I like it. Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
They would have done in a movie.
Yeah. Oh, hey, that feels good.
So, Sophie, you join them and they explain to you what they're trying to do. I would like you to all roll an intelligence roll again.
No, that's a fail. I'll spin the luck to make it a pass, though.
Oh jeez.
I've got a pass.
Okay.
I'm going to watch and laugh, whatever they're doing.
Yeah, but just regular pass.
Yeah, me too.
Hit the buttons.
How about you, Jerry?
I spent luck to pass.
Okay. You start to get it. You start to get the sequence so that it goes. But it's like he said, you've got to kind of almost play it like a piano. Meanwhile, Andrew is quietly laughing to himself, completely oblivious. And the thing, you can almost feel that it's beginning to vibrate as it's attempting to break loose of the electrical cable that's in it, but it can't move. So, once again, one more intelligence roll.
That's a hard success.
Excellent.
Hard success.
Excellent.
Failure.
Do you have enough luck to?
No, that was a 99.
Oh boy.
Oh yeah. Oh, look at that. Yeah.
So
Perfect.
So
Could it
Jerry,
be any better?
it's like playing Simon, and Jerry just hit the wrong sequence, and the whole thing sort of went meh, 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 and then the lights are going all over the place. You would have to start from the beginning again.
Oh no.
And as you are standing there and that realization comes over you, this gigantic cone thing that's above you, suddenly lights appear on it. They're going up the sides. It seems to be starting to activate. Roll your intelligence rolls.
I'll spin the luck.
Oh, failed.
Extreme success.
I'm spending luck to make it a regular success.
Andrew, you're slowly coming out of it and realizing what the fuck is going wrong.
Playing Simon, Andrew. We're playing Simon.
You, George.
Okay. Okay. What are they doing? I'll try to figure out what they're doing here.
Okay, we'll wait for you just a second. George, how'd you do? Fail or succeed?
I failed.
Okay.
Failed.
And you don't have enough luck? I mean,
It's the world. We gotta save the world.
Yeah. Okay, I'll use. Is there a limit on how much luck I can use?
you can use
No.
all of it if you want.
Burn it all.
I'm going to use it all for a hard success.
Okay.
At
So-
least I was useful for this.
You've
Yes.
completed sequence 1. Now you have to do sequence 2 again. But Andrew can join you.
Yes, I'm going to help. Okay, here we go.
All right. So what I'll do is, out of the 4 of you, I need 2 successes. Oh, I shouldn't tell you that, because where's the fun in that? You'll just lie to me and tell me.
You're a 1. Critical
See?
success.
What? So regular int roll?
That's really good. Yeah. Intelligence.
Regular success.
07. What is that?
Just passed.
You
Great
all 4
success.
passed. Okay. And you got a 0-1.
07. Yeah.
As you're doing this, Everything seems to light up, and it goes brr, 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 like this, and all the lights on the cone go off, and all of the lights stop blinking, and they go back to sort of a soft glow. And what do you do now? Everything suddenly becomes quiet, except for the vibration of that crystal thing that's trying to.
I'm saying we need to.
Yes, now we need to
get out
go.
of here
We need to go now.
and blow the hole.
Yes. What you said.
George, you're the engineer. Figure it out.
I am running. Towards to get out.
All right. So the four of you get over to where the rig is to go up, and you manage to get somebody on the radio. We were attacked. Something attacked the camp. Something destroyed the labs. Something.
Oh shoot!
Something big and blue and rock-like. And then it went down one of the holes.
It's down here. Get us out.
No, it might have gone down the other one.
We're going to blow them all up.
Yeah.
Get us out of here.
Yeah, just get us out of here.
All right. So let's just say that you are pulled out of it takes an hour to get out of the hole. In the meantime, on your instructions, they've demolished the other hole, and as soon as you're out, they demolish this hole, and the whole thing gets sealed up. It's the camp is a mess. It's obviously been destroyed by that thing, and some of you survive and some of you didn't survive. Well, some of them didn't survive, but for the most part, you are survivors. And you're not sure you can go back to your life. All of the samples of the stuff you had are gone.
Yeah.
And sometime in the next year, you are approached by agents of Delta Green.
Oh boy.
Because you know things that they want to use you for. And that's the end of our story.
Wow.
Hey, that was fun.
So an explanation, a bit of an explanation.
Yes.
There was a great war between the Elder Things and the Migo.
Yeah, I figured when you said mineral guys. Yeah.
And the Migo, in their war, they created, the Elder Things had Shoggoths. So the Migo created something that would be like a Shoggoth, but made out of minerals and metal, a mechanism. The thing had to have a directional brain. So the main part of it in the ice still had the brain. Your part didn't. So you applied electricity to it and it did things, but it really wasn't coordinated. As time went on in your game, the thing in the ice was melting, because it was now exposed to the outside air.
Right.
It had been originally designed to kill Elder Things. So they would send it as a weapon, a kind of metallic weapon. And it was partly damaged, partly frozen, maybe by an electrical discharge of lightning or something. But it ended up stuck on the ice directly above that other weapon, which is what the Elder Things had created. They figured if they made the earth uninhabitable for 1,000 years, the Migo would leave, and the Elder Things could always rebuild, because they'd pretty much done it in the first place. And then they left poor Dimitri down there to mind the machine. And then the war ended, and the millions of years went by, and poor Dimitri had gone totally bonkers. I mean, he was bonkers from loneliness. All he wanted to do was see the sunlight again.
Poor guy.
But yeah, he's actually quite gentle, intelligent, insane.
Yeah.
And kind of a fun character.
Oh yeah, he's hilarious.
And that's it.
Excellent.
Our players included Holly Buto, Troy Lehman, Gary Lang, and Scott Champeau, with yours truly as the keeper of the secret. We're currently producing up to 4 shows a week with music and sound effects added in post-production in order to create a richer listener experience. We provide audio-only versions of our shows, free for you to download from Podbean or iTunes. The costs involved with the show are provided almost entirely by our patrons. Without them, we wouldn't be able to do what we do. If you'd like to help support our show, please visit our Patreon account. Just $1 a month helps us a lot. Like, share, and subscribe to our channel, and punch the bell icon for updates on our latest shows. Leave us some comments. We enjoy reading them and answering any questions you might have. This is Tom Rayleigh, together with all the members of our gaming club, inviting you to journey with us once again into the darkness for another adventure into the universe of H.P. Lovecraft and the Call of Cthulhu role-playing game. Until next time, good luck, good gaming.